Does John Mateer have what it takes to go into Tuscaloosa and win the game? And does Arch Manning have what it takes to beat Georgia's secondary? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Oklahoma headed down to Tuscaloosa to play the Alabama Crimson Tide. And then after that, we're going to be talking about the Texas Longhorns going into the place where no one wins in Athens, Georgia. Starting with the Oklahoma at Tuscaloosa game, this is a game that the obvious is there. It's a must-win for Oklahoma if they want to make the college football playoffs. It's not looking like right now there's going to be a 3-loss team in there. Even if it is Oklahoma, I don't think they make it, so this game is a must-win. For Bama, this is a game that Alabama wins, and they're almost certainly in the playoffs. If they win and they lose to Auburn, they're in the playoffs. The only chance they're not making the playoffs is they lose to Oklahoma and to Auburn. So Bama has a lot more leeway in this game. Some of my notes I took for Oklahoma is OU's going to have to make them one-dimensional. They have been all year. They haven't been able to run the football well at all. Bama is 110th in the national run offense. Oklahoma is number 1 in national run defense. Oklahoma is going to have to stifle the run to make Bama one-dimensional so our safeties can creep back and guess pass. That's what Oklahoma was able to do against Tennessee. Once we stopped the run, they were able to have safeties play back, and what it turned into, 2 interceptions in the secondary. On a really good Alabama offensive line, how can Oklahoma get pressure? Can they get pressure with just 4 and play more guys back? Or are they going to have to bring pressure and bring the blitzes? If they bring the blitzes, I believe that Ty Simpson is going to be able to dissect that and find the open guy. He's done it all season. Why can't he do it again? Oklahoma's going to have to get constant pressure to make Ty Simpson rattled. The last time we saw Ty Simpson rattled was against Florida State, and they lost that football game. Oklahoma's recipe to success is they have to force a turnover, and they're going to have to get pressure on Ty Simpson play after play after play. This is something great about Ty Simpson. He doesn't turn the football over. 22 touchdowns on the year, 1 interception. 1. John Mateer has 8 interceptions. If Oklahoma loses the turnover battle in this game, they will lose the football game. It's that simple. If they win the turnover battle, they have a really good shot at winning, and I think I'd give them the edge in winning if they could win that. But right now, I have nothing to show that Ty Simpson is going to put the ball in harm's way or is going to turn the football over. But there's a lot of stats to provide that John Mateer is going to turn the football over. That is the biggest key, in my opinion, in this game. Who wins a turnover battle? I think that whoever wins it wins the football game. I think it's that cut, dry, and simple. Oklahoma has proved they can go into tough environments and win football games. This team, under Brent Venables, has statistically been a really good road team, which is shocking with how up and down some of these seasons have been. Oklahoma last week went into Knoxville and pulled out a win in front of 100,000 strong. Now they have a bye week coming off it. Can the Sooners get healthy? R. Mason Thomas, Kobe McKenzie, those are 2 big names. Kendall Dolby back and healthy. If those guys can get healthy, this Oklahoma Sooners defense will be rolling into another 100,000 capacity stadium to try to get it done. I think for the Oklahoma offense is, can you get the second half offense you got against Tennessee? The first half offense was abysmal. The only touchdown you scored was on R. Mason Thomas, scoop and score for 70 yards. What can this offense do better to be like in that second half? Can they get the run going? What do we do in the second half against Tennessee? Gave X-Rob the football. Give him 15 to 20 carries this game easily. Give Troy Bellock another 10 for a mix of tempo. Give these running backs the ball. You've shown for the last 3 weeks you can have a 100-yard rusher. Do it against Bama and open up the pass game for John Mateer down the field. Headed down to Bama, some of my takes are, can you run the football? We just talked about it with Oklahoma, but your run offense is 110th in the country. And Ryan Grubb, I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan. Ryan Grubb was our OC last year, and one of his biggest flaws was he can't run the football. He will abandon the run. And what we've seen with Ryan Grubb at Alabama so far this year is that he'll try to run the football in the first quarter. And if it fails like it has all year, he just fully abandons it, and they become a truly one-dimensional team. The only problem with them being one-dimensional is I trust a one-dimensional Alabama offense every day of the week over a one-dimensional Oklahoma offense, and that's what I think gives Alabama the edge here. And another big factor for Alabama is their wide receiver core. Isaiah Horton, Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams. We saw Tennessee take deep shots against Oklahoma's secondary last week, or 2 weeks ago, and it worked. They were able to get down the field with our secondary's mistakes. Can Alabama capitalize on that too? They're going to take the deep shots. The only question is, how does Brent Venables stop that? Brent Venables is a guy who will give up the 5-yard underneath and out routes to Josh Cuevas. He will give out the 5-yard outs to Isaiah Horton. but he is going to do everything he can to not let Alabama take the top off of this defense and get those 30, 40, 50-yard completions that they're going to attempt. One thing that makes Brent Venables such a good defensive coordinator is that every week we got dudes coming out and calling his name out, saying Ryan Grubb coming out and saying that we're changing up the signs this week because Brent Venables can't take them. It's not that Brent Venables is stealing them. It's that Brent Venables is a good enough defensive coordinator. He's good at picking up signals, good enough that he can capitalize those into figuring out and knowing their tendencies to what play is going to come. That's what makes him so good. Ryan Grubb, on the other hand, is such a good offensive coordinator that he can combat that with, they're probably going to run a little bit of the Ole Miss playbook and the Texas playbook, and against this Oklahoma team, they're probably going to huddle late. They're going to huddle late, get on the line of scrimmage with 10 to 12 seconds left, make pre-snap adjustments, then snap the football. 2, make Oklahoma's defense not know what's going on and not be able to tell and communicate fast enough. I think another thing that's, you can't not mention it, is there's a revenge game factor here for Alabama. Last year, Oklahoma, a horrible Oklahoma team, beat this Bama team on the backs of a 250-yard rushing game. If Oklahoma can do that again, I think they have a great chance at winning. But for Alabama, that game, losing last year, eliminated them from the playoffs. They're going to want to be back. I know with the transfer portal, there's a lot of guys who aren't on this roster again, but there's a lot of dudes who are. Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, the head coach, Kalen DeBoer, he wants revenge for this game. Alabama's going out there, and they're going to fight for it. With all that being said, I think that my realistic takes, yes, I'm an Oklahoma fan. Yes, I'm Sooner born, Sooner bred. It's just hard for me to pick Oklahoma to win this football game with all the factors. So with that, I'm going to take Alabama winning a close one, 31-27 in Bryant-Denny. And next up, we're going in between the hedges to a place where nobody pulls out a win except for Alabama and Georgia. We're going down to Athens, Georgia. Texas faces the Georgia Bulldogs in a thriller. This game is going to be so much fun. 6:30 night game on ABC. Georgia is favored by 6.5 as I'm recording this. This game is going to be very interesting in my opinion. I can see a world where it's a defensive battle. Neither team get anything going and we finish in a 17-13 game. I can also see a world where both offenses start to click and we're in a 40-40 game. So this game I think can go two of ways, but in my opinion, I think it's going to go in the higher scoring path because of these reasons. Texas, you got to win to make the playoffs. You lose here, playoff hopes are done. You win here, you're going to jump yourself into a top 8 team in the country. And then you go play A&M. If you can beat A&M and this Georgia team, you're going to be in the SEC championship with a spot for a top 4 seed in the country, which is something that no one thought 2 weeks ago when they were losing at halftime to Mississippi State, or they were losing at halftime to Kentucky. But right now, this Texas team, they're peaking at their best moments. When your team needs to peak, they're peaking right now. Arch Manning's coming off his best game as a Texas Longhorn against Vanderbilt, throwing for 300 passing yards. Ryan Wingo's coming off a great game. He got hurt, but I think he'll be back. And this O-line has been better. It has been really bad all year, but it's been better recently. Against Oklahoma, this Texas O-line only allowed 1 sack. Against Oklahoma's defensive line, a top 3 defensive line in the entire country, they rose to the occasion. Now they have another chance. Can they rise to the occasion and hold this Georgia defensive line, a Kirby Smart defensive line, out of the backfield and keep Arch Manning healthy? If Arch Manning can have time in the pocket, 1, that's scary because he can sling it, but 2, his legs can kill you. I think this is a game that Arch Manning goes off for 60 to 80 plus rushing yards in this game because the O-line is going to give him time. The Georgia defensive line isn't that good like it has been in previous years, and I think Arch Manning capitalizes on that. I think a big thing for Texas is look at what Georgia's weaknesses are. Georgia is really slow out the gate. Recently, they've been slow. They have 1 game against Mississippi State where they came out fast. Other than that, they get behind. Can Texas come out on their first drive and score points? If they can get up 7-0, 10-0, 14-0 in this football game, I think Texas will win. But I think that Georgia and Kirby Smart are going to realize this is the week. We have to have it. Let's go get it. Let's go win this game. Cement this as a college football playoff team no matter what. I think the Georgia Bulldogs are going to have a good shot at winning. For Georgia, their biggest key is can they come out fast? It sounds obvious because I just said it, but if they can come out and not get down by 10 points to start the game off, I think they'll win because they've won when they do start down by 10. And that's because Kirby Smart makes such good adjustments in the middle of the football game to put his team in the best chance to win. This is going to be a Steve Sarkisian, one of the best offensive minds in the country, versus Kirby Smart, one of the best defensive minds in the country. This is a fun matchup right here that we're getting between two leaders in the industry. Texas O-line is weak. I said it. Georgia's D-line is weak. If you can get pressure on Arch Manning and make him scared in the pocket and make him look like week 3, week 4 Arch Manning, Texas will win handily, easily. But if they can't get pressure, their secondary is really bad this year that I think they lose outright. We've seen Arch Manning be turnover prone in the last few weeks. He wasn't turnover prone against Vanderbilt. He played great that game. Can Georgia force him back in to that old Arch Manning we saw? I think they will, and I think that's why Georgia will win this football game. I think Georgia's going to do some things I really like. They're going to force Arch Manning into turnovers. They're going to get pressure on the Texas offensive line and get Arch Manning under pressure. They are going to score fast, come out the gates fast, and then make the great second half adjustments they do every week. I think we're going to see a vintage Georgia game, vintage as in 3 years ago, Georgia football team, the way they come out with their tenacity. I think that's why Georgia's going to win a 38-31 football game. Thank y'all for tuning back into the channel. Remember, these are just my takes, so make sure to leave y'all's takes down below in the comments. And while you're down there, hit the like, subscribe, and noti bell. Check back in next Monday for our reviews of these games we just talked about. Boomer.